Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and in this video I want to give you a report on my personal experience using solar panels on my motorhome, which you see back there. And I think this is a good time to do it because I have now had my motorhome for right at 5 years. I bought it brand new from a dealer in July 2016, and I had my first 3 solar panels put on within just a few weeks after that. And even those first few weeks was quite a battle fighting with keeping the batteries charged. So I knew I had to do it because I knew I was going to be a full-time traveler, which I have for these 5 years. Not just set in an RV park somewhere full-time, but traveling full-time, both winter and summer. And the effectiveness of solar panels is greatly different between the winter and the summer. In the summers, it pretty much always gets my batteries 100% charged every day. I don't even have to think about it. But the winters is where the real test comes in the effectiveness of solar panels. That's the big challenge, keeping your batteries charged in the winter with a much different perspective of the sun. So I'm going to concentrate in this video of telling you what my winters have been like with my solar panels. Because in the summer, it's always fine and pretty much the same, with one exception. The year I went to Alaska, it was different, and that's because, of course, in northern Canada and Alaska, the sun, which still is way overhead, it's not like it's at the horizon. The sun is way overhead, but it's much weaker because you're so much further away from the sun than you are in the southern states. So when I spent my 30 days in Alaska and then another about 30 days in Canada, I found that my batteries would vary each day with a maximum charge of 75, maybe 80% charged on a good day, but in early morning they would get down to about 25%. So my battery charge level would vary each day between 25 and 75%. Later in the day, as they get used down, and overnight, that's when they get the lowest in those early morning hours. Now, that was not really a problem for me because another major factor is that at that time, I had already gotten my lithium batteries. The motorhome came with flooded lead acid batteries. I got rid of those in just a year and a half. And when I went to Alaska, I already had my lithium batteries. So with the lithium batteries, it's not a problem in the percentage charge level until you get down to about 10% when you really have to worry. So 25% was a safe level. So I went day to day just using my solar to charge my batteries, except occasionally on a really bad weather day when it's raining and we got dark clouds overhead and I'm getting very little solar collection, I would have to run my generator 1 or 2 or 3 hours a day to really give them a boost so they don't get too low overnight. So summer in Alaska was kind of like winter in the lower states. Now my first winter in late 2016, I was in San Diego, California that whole winter, and I was parked in a place where I had tall trees all around me. So I was only able to get a few hours of good sun each day. And with the sun lower on the horizon like it is in the winter, that was quite a battle to keep my batteries charged with solar. So I had to boost that up with a little bit of electricity from shore power or my generator. Now my second winter was in West Texas, Arizona, Southern California, and Baja, Mexico. So that winter, things went pretty well. I got my batteries charged okay, but I was still consistently running low in those early morning hours, 20-25%. And I don't like it to get down below 20%. That's when it kind of gets scary for me. One thing I never ever want to happen is for my batteries to go dead at any point. So in November 2018, I added 2 more solar panels. That winter I spent in Texas and Florida. Now Florida, I didn't have any trouble getting my batteries well charged with my 3 original solar panels and then the extra that I added. However, when I got back to Texas, then I started having a lot more trouble. And I had room for more solar panels, so I decided at that point to add 2 more 150 watt solar panels, and that maximized my roof. So after feeling I needed more solar panels, only 5 months later, I added more solar panels. So now, let me go up onto the roof of my motorhome and show you what they look like. So here is an overall view of the roof. And my 3 original solar panels is this big one here, 300 watt, another identical 300 watt solar panel in the rear, and then in the front, a third 300 watt solar panel. Then my second set is these 2 180 watt solar panels, which are wired together. It's called being wired in parallel. So the 2 panels there act like they're just one solar panel. And even though 180 times 2 is 360, I later learned that when you have several solar panels wired in parallel, like the whole system is, you're maximized by the lesser wattage of any of the solar panels. So these 2 180s, 360, effectively is only 300. Then the last solar panels I got was a pair of 150s, that one and that one right there. So with these 7 solar panels, I now have 1,500 watts of solar panels on my roof. Now I also have this set of portable panels, 200 watts. They fold in half and actually has a suitcase type carrier here. And the way I hook those up is on my batteries here. I put the black clip onto the negative terminal of my left battery and the red clip on the positive terminal of my right batteries, and that gets both of them charged equally. And both of these are 300 amp hour batteries. I chose to go with that because it's a much simpler system. Most people get 6 100 amp hour batteries and just line them up across here, 6 of them, but that is a lot more complicated to deal with. For example, each lithium battery has its own battery monitor built in. So to check the status of my batteries, I have to do it twice. Once for that one and once for that one. I'd rather do it twice than 6 times. And it costs $1,000 less by going with 2 batteries instead of 6. Now there's 4 parts to a solar system: the panels, the wiring, the controller, and the monitor. The controller I keep in this second bin right here. I have a Morningstar MPPT, what they call a 60 amp controller. It is able to pull in only about 845 watts of my 1,500 watts on the roof. And my portable has its own built-in controller, so it doesn't go through the main one. Now the monitor is inside the motorhome, right here. And it shows right now I'm pulling in 25 amps, which is equivalent to 350 or 360 or so watts. And it's putting out 13.5 volts. The most the amps will go to is 60.5, and the wattage will be up to about 845. Now it's low now because most of my panels are still shaded. However, I'm still positive about 4 DC amps. So the difference between 25 and 4 is how much I'm using right now. Now let me show you one of the really nice benefits of solar. Right now I'm bringing in 17 amps, and that's because, for one thing, I still got all the tree blockage, and my batteries are like 99% charged. And my net amps now is just above 0. Now when I turn on my microwave oven at night with no solar coming in, it will send my net amps up to about minus 150 or 160, and the most the batteries can put out is about minus 170 without tripping a breaker. Now let me show you what happens when I turn my microwave oven on now. It goes from about +1 to minus 80, 90, instead of minus 160. So that way my microwave, with all that power it's consuming, is pulling energy off of the solar panels before it goes to the batteries to pull in more electricity if it needs to. So what that means is that during the day I can use a high amp appliance for cooking and such without draining my batteries too bad. So the point is, my amps available when I'm boondocking is what the batteries are able to do, plus whatever the solar panel is pulling in. It combines the amps from both into one. Now solar controllers come in various sizes, usually 30, 60, 80, and 100. I decided to get a 60 because when I got my original 900 watts of panels, I thought that was all I was going to have. And that was the ideal size controller for those panels. Now that I've upgraded to 1500 watts, I could use a larger controller like the 100 model, but let me tell you why it's not really necessary. With the system I have now, in the summer, no problem. I get 100% charged every day. So a larger controller would not help me in the summer. And in the winter, with my 1500 watts of solar panels, the most those panels will bring in is more like 600, 500, or 400 watts. About 1/3 of their actual capacity, and that's simply because of the poor sun you get in the winter with the sun so close to the horizon. You're just not getting that really direct sunlight. So as it is now, I'm lucky on the world's best day of maximizing my wattage intake to the 845 maximum that my controller will handle. So a bigger controller wouldn't help me in the winter either. It's kind of like this. If the speed limit on the interstate highway is 75 and your Toyota can easily go 75, upgrading to a Corvette is not going to get you anywhere any faster because you're still limited to that 75. miles per hour speed limit. Now let me tell you about the next 2 winters I went through after I was maximized at my 1500 watts of solar panels. That next winter I was mostly in Nevada and Southern California, and I did see some improvement over my previous winter, but not a whole lot. I was disappointed that the improvement from 1200 watts to 1500 watts didn't make much of a noticeable difference, but I got through the winter just fine. The next winter, which was last winter, 2020, I drove from Florida to Texas, and again in Florida, my solar system did just fine. Never had to really boost it up with other power. When I got to Texas, again, not quite so much. In Texas, I was still wishing I had more, but I still got by. As long as over a 24-hour period, the lowest point of the day, those early morning hours, don't get below 25%, 20% at the minimum, then I'm happy and I get along just fine with that. So again, I only have to run my generator to charge my batteries when I'm boondocking, of course, just once in a while when there's a really bad weather day. So all in all, I am very, very much happy that I got the solar system that I have. So the large majority of the time, like 3/4 of the time, based over a whole year, I don't really have to give a thought to my solar system. I just got to watch those few bad days here and there. So if you have been thinking about investing in a solar system for your RV, or if you have a solar system and wondering how it compares to other people's, I hope this video has helped you in some way. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me questions in the comments below. Good day, folks.